They're dancing around what Aaron Rodgers' future is while also sort of simultaneously praising Jordan Love. But we're not going to talk about whether or not we think he's going to leave Green Bay or what's going to happen with contracts being restructured or any of that stuff because it's boring.
Well, no, I think I could have. I don't think it's. I understand what you're saying. It's boring, but I think Brian Gutekunst could have worded it in a way that would have been more advantageous. Instead of, can we hear what he said?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the general manager of the Packers being asked about Aaron Rodgers and would they want him back.
Do you want him back as the quarterback of the Packers?
Yeah, I think those discussions have to happen and making sure that it's the right fit. But obviously, we know the kind of player that Aaron is, and once we had those conversations, we'll be able to move forward. We'll have more to say.
The way he should have answered that is more like this.
Okay.
No, we do not want Aaron Rodgers back. No, we are sick of this. We're tired of this. We have to move on as a franchise at some point. We have to see if Jordan Love can play football. This is ridiculous. Are we really going to do this again this summer? It is over, Maggie.
Wow, you got all that from that.
No. That's what he should have said.
Oh, that's what he should have said.
That's what he should have said, including the Maggie part.
Yes, right. So directly to me.
Gutekunst clearly doesn't want him there. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there. Every single NFL fan wants him out. Let's move him out. Let's just get him out of there.
Well, I think that's where I'm going with this, which is whether or not he comes back or whatever, we're going to determine today what the best fit for him in terms of pure entertainment and fun.
Right.
What is the best place for Aaron Rodgers to land that will actually make us interested in Aaron Rodgers again? Because right now, he's really testing, and this whole situation is like testing our Aaron Rodgers fatigue, right? We had this at the end of Favre. He ends up going to the Jets and then end up going to the Vikings. What is the place that will actually get us excited for 2023? Here's where Aaron Rodgers is going to play. Go ahead.
31 teams that do not exist in the state of Wisconsin.
You think any of them?
Absolutely. Any team is a gigantic improvement over Green Bay.
See, I don't know about that.
Every single team. Ooh, I know which team you're saying is not. Okay, is the exercise what's the most exciting? I just want to state for the record, any team besides Green Bay is some more exciting than Green Bay.
Okay, we're all ready for him to leave Green Bay and see what he can do somewhere else.
The one team I understand, Indianapolis might not be that exciting, but it actually is. So I think every team is more exciting. I think of the teams that are really possible, I think the Raiders would probably be the most exciting because I think that offense would be bananas.
Okay, well, if you're talking about offenses that are going to be amazing, then yeah, you can take the Raiders if you want, but that should have been turnkey with Derek Carr this year, and it definitely wasn't. So what makes you think that Aaron Rodgers coming in to learn what we've heard is a very complicated system that Josh McDaniels runs, what makes us think that's going to work in year one? See, we can't be worried about some head coach or offensive coordinator coming in and messing this whole thing up. That's why the most exciting place he can go is definitely Miami. I saw it in the vision when I went into my own dark place, and it's no brainer. With Mike McDaniel, it's about you have your great run game, and then with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle, it's not like that should be easy. If it was easy for Tua, who, granted, was an incredibly accurate quarterback. But if it's easy for Tua's skill set, this should be off the charts with Aaron Rodgers' skill set. And it does turn Miami, I think, into a Super Bowl contender. We can talk about the Raiders. We can talk about the Jets. I don't know if those teams are actually Super Bowl contenders. They seem, listen, we want to talk about the Jets and their top 5 defense. To automatically put Jets and Super Bowl contender in the same sentence is really hard for me to do.
Yeah, but
same with the Raiders.
But the Raiders, of course, the Raiders are not a Super Bowl contender. No shape, fashion, or form, even with Aaron Rodgers. But we know it works with Devontae Adams. We know they have an unbelievable connection. We know that they won 2 out of the last 3 MVPs together. There's a little more unknown with Miami. Mike McDaniel, yeah, his offense is good. I don't worry about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not in the same class as Aaron Rodgers. So who cares that it didn't work with him? I just think the known of having Devontae and Aaron Rodgers out there. There's another thing, too. Their defense stinks, right? So that
Which
means
one?
The Raiders, right? Yeah. The Raiders' defense stinks. That means shootouts. That means Aaron Rodgers dropping back all the time, throwing all over the field.
It means excuses. It means excuses.
It means MVP.
Well, okay, but MVP's got you nowhere.
It means 53 touchdowns. You said exciting. It means production. It means Aaron Rodgers is back, dazzling people with his. How many shootouts would he be involved in all the time? Miami, yes, it's also a high-octane offense.
Yeah.
But you're in the East. There's a lot of weather and mucky stuff. It's just not quite the same, in my opinion.
You're going to have to go to Denver if you are, you go a mile high. It's a little, well, I guess the air kind of gets under it there. Kansas City is not a picnic to play in.
Kansas City's defense is a picnic.
Thursday.
Aaron Rodgers is it's gonna be 54-49. Rodgers, that's gonna be great. I'm not talking about Super Bowl contention. I think that is a better shot at Miami, but I think you could make an exciting case in Las Vegas, and it's indoors. Both are great options, but the indoors is definitely an older guy like Aaron Rodgers. I know he played in Lambeau.
Yeah.
Don't you want to be indoors, or is the warm weather enough for you?
I mean, I think for Rodgers, it's probably fine. As long as you're not going to Green Bay, going back to Green Bay, Buffalo, playing in Chicago anymore, all that stuff you just want no part of. We are across the country on CBS Sports Radio, all of our incredible affiliates, SiriusXM channel 158, the free Odyssey app, but we are also streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And in the chat, Jared Hockenberry says, I don't want Rodgers in Miami. I'd rather have Carr. What are you smoking?
Jared Hockenberry?
That's his name.
Yeah, Jared should call in because I do not understand.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, why you'd rather have Carr exit the longevity? Jared, explain yourself.
We don't understand. I mean, Stu, the longtime Raider fan, can tell you that's a bad bet.
Yeah, you don't want Carr over Rodgers. There's no way.
Stu is sitting here on the sidelines, okay, minding his own business, just trying to contribute to our incredible radio show. And when I tell you the look of bewilderment, befuddlement, when we talk about Derek Carr as someone who watched him every single down, you can't understand this, right? Like, why are people talking about Derek Carr being this huge prize?
I can't. I really don't understand it. He's a fine quarterback. He's an above-average quarterback, but for $30-40 million, no, I don't see it.
If you could be guaranteed to get, let's say, 13 games of Garoppolo, would you rather go with Garoppolo or Carr?
I don't really love Garoppolo either, to be honest, but I'd probably, for the price, probably Garoppolo.
Okay. Just curious where you stood there, if you were just being a Derek Carr hater. But I don't think that's the case.
No.
I mean, Derek Carr's numbers were really pedestrian last year, which is weird. You're right. That offense was set up for success. Great running back, great receivers, great tight end.
Yeah.
And he was very inconsistent.
Well, I mean, I think it was whether it was the Josh McDaniels, they couldn't get on the same page. I don't know. But
He's
Thomas
just not
L.
that good. Yeah.
is also in the chat and says, it's a good question, Jared. What are you smoking? And did you bring enough for the whole class? Because we're all going to need a little if we're going to get behind Derek Carr to Miami over Aaron Rodgers to Miami. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The question is not, do you think Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay? The question is, what's the most fun for us, the football fan? What's the best place that he can possibly go to make the entertainment value for us, the paying customer, as high as it can possibly be? Perloff's vote is anywhere but Green Bay.
Well, I do
Miami.
think there's a general rule of the NFL. Any new star in a new place adds to the excitement level.
Yeah.
The NFL gave 5 primetime games to the Broncos because they thought everyone's going to want to see Russell Wilson as a Bronco. That's sort of the NBA formula, right? Move the superstars around and gain national interest.
Right.
I know.
Talk about your all-time backfires with that Broncos move.
Right. That was terrible. But the NBA has had a lot of success, I think, for LeBron moving around and all that. I know the loyalists don't like it, but... So it's good. It's good for stars to move. Do we agree on that, or we disagree? Because a lot of people say, "Oh no, it's bad for stars to move." It's good at this level. It's not working in Green Bay.
What's bad is when it looks like a star is literally quitting on the team and quitting on the court. Nobody can accuse Aaron Rodgers of quitting, like James Harden, for example, like quitting to kind of get your way. Samter, you're saying, no, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not saying that he's quitting, but there were so many reports of him not being all in and focusing on ayahuasca and darkness retreats. He may not have quit, but he certainly didn't appear to be doing what a quarterback necessarily needs to do to be the guy.
Yeah, probably a matter of opinion. I bet Rodgers would say he's all in. But yes, he didn't go to the OTAs.
I think Aaron Rodgers, in his own mind, is perfect and flawless. So Aaron Rodgers has never made a mistake in his own mind.
I'm not even sure Aaron Rodgers would say he was all in on last year's team. He would say that team clearly wasn't all in. They're spending $14 on receivers for me. They didn't do anything at receiver. By the way, this Miami versus Vegas debate for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I looked at the schedules. Bad news.
What's that?
Miami's got the second hardest schedule in the league next year.
What does that mean?
The Raiders are 10th, and the actual Packers are 28th.
Well, that's what happens when you don't make the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
You get an easier schedule.
The Raiders didn't make the playoff either. The problem is, and if he goes to Las Vegas, he has to go to Buffalo this year and to Kansas. Oh, man.
Ooh.
I don't know. I got to admit, the AFC West thing is probably a factor here. And I think the AFC East is not ideal for Rodgers either. That's the one thing I would say about Miami is, you got to go up against the Jets defense, the Pats defense, and the Bills.
Okay, but the exercise is, what is the place that's the most entertainment value for all of us?
Right, but it's not entertaining to see him get stymied by a tough Jets defense in the windy MetLife Field. That's not entertaining.
Okay, I mean, but that's 2 games. What's 1 game out of the year? Then they get the Jets down to Miami. Yeah, you go to New England, it's not going to be a picnic, but I'd rather that than a season of him in the NFC South, if they'll even trade him in the NFC, and it's going to be, Rodgers on the Tampa Bay Bucks? That is not fun.
I will say this one thing, though, because I'm looking at the Packers. Obviously, we don't know the full schedule, but we know their home and away teams.
Yeah.
At home next year, the Packers play the Chiefs, Chargers, and Rams. Those teams probably won't have a new quarterback. Saints and Bucks. So while we don't want to necessarily see him go to the junky NFC South, they will be playing in Lambeau, the Saints and the Bucks. So that would be fun to see Rodgers come back and play against the Packers in Lambeau.
I guess so.
But by the way, Tampa Bay would be fun to see him throwing to Mike Evans and Chris.
Footsteps. Every single throw he makes is
nobody cares about. No one cares about Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's footsteps are in New England. I'm telling you, you don't think Rodgers throwing to Evans and Godwin and all those guys come back healthy? That's not a bad consolation prize. It's a lot better than the Jets.
So you had Brady throwing to Evans and Godwin last year, and it was a snooze fest. I mean, that was not that fun.
Well, Godwin was coming off an injury, and Evans was in and out.
Plus, because Brady's taking the gap year and he's not even going to the booth next year, we don't get Brady calling the game of Rodgers.
Okay, well, you will give me that Tampa Bay is more fun than Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta.
That's what I'm saying. You could have him go to the NFC South. That's not fun to me, though. That's not maximum fun. Right now, I'm thinking about how do we get the best out of the end of Aaron Rodgers? How do we get the most fun scenario?
Yeah, where do you get an MVP?
Well, I mean, even you say the MVPs, it's just what's behind the numbers?
How did we get Aaron Rodgers to 50 touchdowns? I think Miami and Vegas are 2 great choices.
Yeah.
I think actually Tampa Bay, he could dominate there. I think he would kill it. That's the easiest division. I don't think they're going to sign him because you're right. They probably had enough of these old quarterbacks. But I think he wants to go somewhere he can win. Now, by the way, Green Bay has some say in this too. They're not just going to trade him in the conference.
I don't think that they will.
Yeah, so I think
it's only AFC teams. But again, this is just our exercise.
Let's put up a poll. Who are the teams we should put on there? Let's get the Raiders, the Dolphins.
And?
Who are the Jets?
Raiders, Dolphins, Jets.
The Niners are also, I think.
The Niners would be super fun because of the weapons with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk.
That's a good one.
Except it's in the NFC, and they have a history. How many times have the Packers and the 49ers played in big playoff games?
Recently, certainly twice. Yeah, but let's put them in there.
Okay. What about the Colts? You don't put the Colts in there?
Who's the Colts?
No, we're talking fun. The Colts just yeah, I don't know. For some reason,
although, imagine the conversations between Rodgers and Jim Irsay. Could we be a fly on the wall on that clown show?